Hello everyone, welcome back. So in the previous video you all understood what is the difference between parallax and stereoscope. So we'll move with something called as depth judgment, which I have already explained in the previous class or previous video. So depth judgment may be classified into two. One is monoscopic, the other one is stereoscopic. Monoscopic is one wherein the person views a photograph only with one eye, that is called as monocular vision, and is applied to viewing with only one eye. Now people with normal vision are said to be having binocular vision, so they can view with both the eyes simultaneously. These people are said to have stereoscopic views, that is, we normal human beings with two eyes are said to have stereoscopic view, which helps in giving us a three-dimensional image. So, the two photos taken from two exposure stations. So, now L1 and L2 are laid on the table. So the left photo is seen by the left eye and the right photo is seen by the right eye. Thus we obtain a 3D model. Now to explain that, so if this is the left photograph, this is the right photograph, and there are common features A, B here also, and A, B in this photo also. So with the left eye I view the left photo, with the right eye I view the right photo, and when they both are merged we obtain a 3D model. So that is called as a stereoscopic view. But this becomes very difficult. So what we do, we used a special type of equipment called as stereoscope. So these stereoscopes are of different types. They are of two types. One is a pocket type of a stereoscope and one is a mirror type of a stereoscope. Now this pocket type of a stereoscope is used for smaller areas. When the area of the photo area is very small, then we go with pocket type of stereoscope, and when the area of the photo taken is very large, then we go with mirror type of a stereoscope. So the image obtained must be, so these images what we get, so they should be taken from the same height, that is from the ground. It should be, that is the flight height should be h itself. The exposure stations should have a particular distance, that is, and they should be having same orientation. It is, if this is the first photograph taken, this is the first photograph, second photograph taken, and there are n number of photographs taken further. So we arrange it in such a way that first and second is only arranged, and not first, third, or second, fourth, like this. It should be in a same orientation as it which has been taken during the flight. Then it should have same scale. So these are the important things which you all need to keep in mind while doing a stereoscopic view. So imagine this to be the aeroplane, okay? It is moving in this direction, and this is the land from which you all are taking the photographs. The camera is mounted at the base of the aeroplane, and at particular point, at particular distances, say B, it takes the photos. So it covers, say, this much of area. This photo from this position it will cover this area, from this position it will cover this area. So there will be n number of photographs which will be collected. So this is when the aeroplane is moving forward like this. Then what it will happen, it will come back in the same position, okay, and it will take the photographs laterally. It will take photographs laterally, which you all can see here. It is going forward, it takes the turn and comes back again. So there will be a side lap. How it look, I'll show you all. So this is the first photograph, second photograph, third, fourth, fifth, when the flight is moving in this direction. It will go like this and it will come back like this, and when it comes back it will have side overlap as well as forward overlap. So this is how the photos will be taken. This is forward overlap, this is side lap, and I had told you all that is the forward overlap should have a overlapping area of 50 to 60%. Similarly, the side overlap, that is side to side overlap, should be of 20 to 40%. Now moving to the derivation part. The derivation on geometry of overlapping vertical photos, or that is also called as parallax derivation. So imagine that there is a ground surface, something like this, and there is one point A on the ground and there is another point B on the ground. There are two exposure stations from which the photograph is being taken, and there is a overlap of 60%. Okay, so consider this to be my exposure point O, that is my first exposure point, and consider this to be my second exposure center, exposure station O dash, and these will be my positive image planes, which I had already told you all. There is two planes, positive and negative planes. So this is my positive plane. This will be my Nadar line or optical axis also. It can be called as Nadar line, optical axis, etc. Now, so this becomes my focal length F. This becomes my height H. This is my K point. This is my K dash point. Okay. Now from O, when I take a photo from this particular point, when I take a photo of this particular ground, A is visible on this photograph somewhere like this. This becomes my A point. Similarly, B point is also visible. This becomes my B point. Similarly, with this side, when the photo is being taken from this station, A is visible somewhere here. I'll name it as A dash, and B is also visible somewhere here, and I'll name it as B dash. Okay. Now if I draw these two images like this, this is the photo which is visible to me like this. Okay. These are the fiducial marks which are present on the photograph. This is my point A, this is my point B, this is my K point, and this will be my K dash point, A, B. Similarly, this is my K dash, and this becomes my B point, this becomes my B dash and A dash point. The distance from here till here, so this is my x-axis, this is my y-axis. These are positive, these are negative, these are negative, these are positive. This is my y-axis, this is my x-axis. So this is XA dash distance, and this is XA. Similarly, this becomes XB, and this distance becomes XB dash. I hope it is clear. Now, when I merge these two photographs, that is stereo photograph is being obtained. When I merge both of them, it is visible like this somehow. This is my K point. Now, when I'm overlapping, I'll consider this point, and this is my K dash point. This will be my A point. This will be my B point. Similarly, if I draw this here, this will be my A dash, and this will be my B dash. This is my XA dash. This is XA. Similarly, this is XB, and this distance is XB dash. So I can write parallax in general as x of left minus x of right. Now, if I consider this to be the center, this side becomes this image becomes my left image. This becomes my right image. So left image minus the right image coordinates. So left side it is XA minus XA dash. Why minus of minus? Minus of right side x distance. Because it lies in the negative coordinate, I write it as minus of XA dash. So parallax at A point is equal to XA minus of minus XA. So, and parallax at B will be equal to XB minus of XB. So in general I can write it as XB plus of XB dash. This also I can write it as XA minus of plus of XA dash. This is parallax at A. This is parallax at B. I hope you all are clear with this. So this is the diagram. That is, this is my point A, this is my point B, this is my center, this is my exposure point O and O dash. Similarly, on the photos A and B, A dash and B. This is from first station, this is from second station. I have replicated the image here, and the distance from the center will be XA, distance from the center will be XB. Similarly, distance here will be XA dash, XB dash. Similarly, when I merge these two photos, I can write it something like this. That is XA and XA dash, XB and XB dash. So parallax has an equation which is equal to x left minus of x right. X left image minus of x right image. Left side XA minus of minus XA dash. So I can write it as XA plus of XA dash. Similarly for XB, I can write it as XB which is equal to XB plus of XB dash. So that was the derivation of parallax. Now in the next class, we'll be doing derivation of the parallax with respect to the height of the object, and that will be the last part of this module. So we'll stop here for today. Thank you.